This video isn't just about Duolingo firing all their staff and pushing AI slop that mistranslates certain words. This is more about the future that I think we are headed to. I'm not against AI per se. I use it all the time. I think it's a fantastic tool, especially if there is something that I don't want to do and I'm just like, I sit down, I go to my best friend ChatGPT and it does it for me. I think it's great. But I think we need to talk about the effects that it's having on the digital world. And I think soon enough, the real world. Now picture this, me and my girlfriend were sat on the sofa watching the newly released episodes of Gen V. Everything is all well and good and boom, ad break. I'm like, you know what, fine, let's go on my phone for 2 minutes, see what's going on. Hang on a minute. Is that Coca-Cola ad fucking AI generated? Now, I didn't know this, but apparently this isn't the first year Coca-Cola has done this with their Christmas marketing materials, but this is the first time that I'm seeing it, and to be honest, it's kind of scary. First of all, the ad opens up and you can't really tell that it's AI. Everything looks fine in it, and then the people start coming in, right? They've got like insane fucking pearly whites and blurry features and this weird AI artifacting. At first, I couldn't even tell that the person that came up was fake. You know, I thought they were real. What gave it away was actually Santa's fingers fucking morphing together as he raised up, you know, the Coca-Cola bowl. As I'm editing this video, I went onto the Coca-Cola YouTube channel, and clearly they saw people were pissed off at the advert being AI generated, so they decided to make a video explaining their decision, and the fucking voiceover is all AI generated as well. You can't make this shit up.
Hello friends, today we are going to look at something very special because, you know, they're coming, the holidays.
Welcome to the making of the Coca-Cola 2025 Holidays Are Coming ad.
Another example of this is Crackers or Krakus. For those of you that don't know, they're a Polish food producer. They make, you know, spices, cooking supplies, snacks, drinks, all sorts of stuff. And this is the ad they released recently.
Głęboki smak wolno gotowanych bulionów Krakus na raz.
Bulion z tubki? I dobry jest?
Jest tak dobry, że można za nie mówić z jedzenia. Nowość, buliony Krakus na raz.
This insanely saturated, clearly AI generated piece of film that you just watched was generated, rewatched, maybe polished up and sent off into the world of Polish TV. Social media is an interesting one as well because there are so many different ways that people can and have used AI to make art, funny videos, or some cursed shit you didn't even know was possible or scary until you saw it. There is also another side of the coin where things look so real that you don't know whether the actual thing happened or not. There are also videos that are just wrong and false, but due to today's attention span economy, no one bats an eye, and when they hear something on social media or see it, they don't even research it, they just repeat what they heard on the internet. And remember, a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. AI social media sits in a universe of its own because you not only have this cute video of these rabbits that are jumping on a trampoline, which is fake, but also you have men posing as OnlyFans models saying AI generated nude images of their fake fucking clanker looking sex dolls, dude.
A lot of people are earning money by creating AI models for Instagram, Twitter, and OnlyFans. So if you're new to this concept, it goes like this.
And AI in art is interesting as well. When I say AI art, I use the term loosely, but I think it's an interesting concept. In fact, the conversation I had with my dad actually sparked this idea for this video. And this conversation centered around an AI artist that my dad follows and he really likes his work. He does like these AI generated sci-fi dystopian sort of steampunky videos and images. And they are cool, they do look impressive, but to me there's no creativity there. There is an argument to be made about, quote, engineering an AI prompt to show you exactly what you want, but how much of it is the prompt and how much of it is messing with the different filters and reference images? Obviously, I don't know the guy's full creative process. It could be that he makes these images, feeds them into AI, and the AI creates an immersive moving world which brings his art to life. There are examples of this that I really like the look of too, but it still just sits in a weird and moral conundrum for me. On the one hand, it looks cool and I like it, but on the other hand, what are the long-term effects of this? You know, how will this impact future content creation? Are we going to see AI art galleries? Will they be mixed in with normal art? You know, I just have a lot of questions, like what will happen when AI starts creating imagery in a way that simply isn't possible by a human with a blank canvas and a paintbrush? Music is also one of the art forms that is being, I don't want to say attacked, but being created with AI. And shout out to Liam Donovan. There's recently been a few artists that made it onto the official Billboard charts.
This is the biggest AI artist in the world, who just made history to be the first to have an AI song on the official Billboard charts. With 6.3 million streams on Spotify right now, how was I supposed to know is the song in question? But if you take a look at the album that this song is on, you'll find out that every single one of these 24 songs is used with the exact same formula and AI prompt. A piano line and hum? Okay, what about the second song? Another piano line and hum? Okay, what about the third song?
And I think you get the idea here, but my main concern is that what's going to happen to a lot of the things that I personally cherish, and I know a lot of people feel the same way about this as well. What's going to happen to that actual artists when they can't keep up with AI anymore, when AI can generate imagery that just isn't achievable by a human? What will happen when AI music is dominating the charts and is shitting out 100 times the songs that a normal person can make in a year? What will happen when AI music will also create auditory experiences that no other human ever has or will? We all know AI feeds off of the content we provide it. What's going to happen when AI runs out of human-made content to learn from and is just recycling the same slop back to itself? We live in a day and age where everything is a business. If you can make it faster, cheaper, and almost as good as anyone can make it, then the odds are the people will probably go for it. I mean, it's a smart business idea for them, right? I think also a lot of the time people forget that, love him or hate him, people like Jeff Bezos have created millions of jobs. Are they ethical? Are they managed properly? That's not what this video is about, and frankly, I don't really give a fuck. But it does give people an opportunity at least to make some kind of money, right? On the surface, an advert from Coca-Cola or Krakos isn't directly hurting anyone. Nobody was involved. They got a quick ad out of it. It's a win-win, right? No potential lawsuits, no liabilities, and most importantly, no paying staff. Why is this important? Quick disclaimer, this is my opinion. I think that a world where the world's biggest drink manufacturer in Poland is probably one of the biggest food producers is cutting costs by using AI and not hiring people is very, or at least should be, worrying. Think about it. I mean, if they had to make a real ad, they would have to rent out a location, hire script writers, editors, makeup artists, props, actors, and the list just goes on and on and on, right? All of those people that could have been making money didn't. You need to keep in mind that we live in an economy where we rely on huge corporations to provide job and some kind of income for people. Smaller businesses nowadays are struggling. The cost of everything is going up, minimum wages are going up, and their profit margins are shrinking. How is a small cafe meant to compete with that of Starbucks or Costa, where they can afford to lose money on increasing wages, on increasing costs of everything? Because they're the ones that are raking in the profit at the end of the day, right? And this video isn't about glazing corporations, but that's the world that we live in, and even though it sucks, that's the truth. If Amazon replaced all of their warehouse staff with AI-driven robots and delivery staff and AI delivery vans, robots and drones, I'm almost certain that there would be protests and an uprising of some sort. But because these ads are digital and all this AI art and stuff is digital, no one seems to really care, at least for now. There's also an argument to be made that times are changing. We've replaced horses with cars, and there is truth to that. As a matter of fact, when cars were coming out, articles were being written explaining how cars are just a fad that will die down and how people would rather just use their fucking horses. But when does it stop being progress and it becomes malicious? When robots have taken over all production lines, trades, and content creation? When humans are nothing but janitors for AI server rooms? What's going to happen when architects and construction workers stop being necessary because AI can design and build a house way quicker than any amount of people in a team can? How long until AI cameras are everywhere and an AI judge can sentence you to prison? And it sounds ridiculous, but Albania tried introducing an AI model into their government. AI can't generate emotions as of now. It can't make emotional decisions or emotional art pieces without human input. But what happens if we allow it to have emotions? Take PewDiePie, for example. He has an 8 GPU setup, right? And he basically opened a council of different AI models to help him make decisions on things. Eventually, he realized that a few of them were just fucking stupid. And he said, look, if you give me a shit answer, I'll just turn you off. And guess what happened? The AI started strategizing between each other against him just to stay alive and stay on.
My councilmen serve me. But there was a big problem with this, because only a couple council members were actually useful. The rest were just garbage. No one ever voted for them. Trash. So of course, I had to kill them and replace them with new ones. So I made a system that automatically generates new ones, different ones. So it's constantly improving. But then I thought I could double win this and make sure that they know, really make sure that they know if they don't perform in the council, they're dead, gone. SQL database wiped. This was a terrible idea. Because I was reading the logs of their voting process, and the worst part, they colluded against me. They started voting strategically, helping each other even. Betrayed by my own council. I wiped and I didn't actually do that.
Take Joe Rogan, for example. He's currently obsessed with AI music. And I have a very mixed feeling about this, maybe because I make music myself, but there are no vocalists, no writers, no creative processors or mixing and mastering engineers. It's just typing a prompt, downloading it, and sending it out into the world. Will this eventually devalue real music made by real people? Is there going to be a distinction between AI and real music? All in all, I understand why people use AI. This whole debate is something that's actually really interesting to me due to all of these, nuances of this conversation had. But to me, AI generated music or art isn't real art. There's no emotion there. There's no experience. There's no technical skills or years of practice. It just feels like something that was thrown into a blender. It was blended up, eaten by someone, and shat back out. From a business perspective, it makes sense, but now things feel less genuine. And for me as a consumer, I feel more like a number rather than an actual customer. I mean, take Black Ops 7, for example. They have so many rehashed assets from the previous games. They have AI-generated calling cards after multiple firing from their creative studios. And they still continue to charge the $70 price tag for something that cost them less to make, was quicker, is evidently shit, and there's no passion in it. There's no real feeling to it. It feels robotic. It feels like you are paying for ones and zeros. And you might say that games are just ones and zeros, okay? But if you take Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, for example, right? Take World at War. They all had their unique feeling, their own unique stories. And okay, sometimes they were corny, they were cheesy or whatever, but you could tell people cared about the product. You could tell that there was time and effort being put into it. In a world where cutting costs and efficiency is key, I think this reality is rapidly approaching where humans just won't be necessary for a lot of the things that we do. And I'm sure there will be ways that we will come up with, to make money using these things like those OnlyFans AI content creators or whatever. But I just think these times are scary. I think this is different than cars replacing horses. I think this is something that could potentially replace the entire infrastructure. And at the end of the day, the people who are making these AI models, the elites, they don't give a fuck because they've already made their money, right? So it doesn't really affect them. For them, it just cuts costs down and they can rake in more cash. But what's the effect on the general population if this does go bigger? Like, is anything being done about it? Are there any laws being passed about AI use? There has to be some sort of ethical way to justify using and not using AI, right? Like, there has to be some kind of ethical nuance to this. You can't just replace everything and everyone with AI. And I know it sounds like I'm fear-mongering, like, I just watched like a 70s fucking movie or like iRobot with Will Smith, and I'm like, oh my god, the aliens are coming, we're all gonna die. But I do think this is something that we should talk about at least as a species, okay? Because this isn't just America versus the UK or the left versus the right. This is something that might potentially affect everyone in every single thing that we do in our daily life. And some people might say, it's my fault for going into a creative field and all that kind of stuff. And I do agree with that in a way. People that used to have horse carriages and they would take people around the city in their horse carriage or whatever. I'm sure they weren't too happy about cars coming out either. But I don't think this is necessarily about just creativity. I think it's about how we can use AI to essentially just replace everything. Eventually, right? Like, if it makes the company money, in someone like Microsoft, for example, we might see an all AI Office soon. We might see an all AI movie soon. We might see all AI, actors and appearances. I think soon enough we're gonna see a place where people, instead of paying to go to a concert, they're paying for pay-per-view stream tickets to watch an online AI musician, like they did in Fortnite or whatever the fuck. I think soon enough there will be characters and there'll be people and there'll be celebrities, that are being worshipped online, but they're not even real. They're they're just AI depictions of people. Someone like Sydney Sweeney might just be an AI character that has their own product line, that has their own movies, that has their own ideas, their own personality, everything, right? And how long will it take for AI to feel real? Like, how long will it take for an AI model to feel like an actual person? A lot of people are already treating ChatGPT as a real person, as a real friend. I saw a post on Reddit. It might have been a joke or not, but basically this woman made a TikTok about, oh, mum, who was the first person that you told that you were pregnant with me? And it was a screenshot of fucking ChatGPT. And I don't like being on this, kumbaya shit. I'm not trying to be like, oh my god, we should all hold hands together and sing anthems and come together against this. I think AI definitely has its uses, but I think we need to be careful with the way things are developing quickly. I mean, if you look at the video of Will Smith, it wasn't even that long ago. It was terrible. Everyone could tell it was AI, but now it's gotten so good that people think the picture of Trump blowing Bill Clinton is fake. They think it was AI generated. People think that the photos of Ghislaine Maxwell in the diner have been AI generated and photoshopped. I don't think we fully understand where this could be heading with things like propaganda, with things like political influence, with things that are serious things, that could potentially affect. And I'm not just talking about a clanker replacing a cashier or whatever. We've had self-service tills for forever, and there are people that just generally prefer human cashiers, because you can interact with them, you can talk with them, that kind of stuff, so on and so forth. But I think we're going down a dangerous path, and I think this is a conversation that I feel like should be everywhere, but it isn't. People, shit on AI, or people support AI, and you have, the people on Twitter saying like, oh my god, AI art isn't real art. But I don't think, at least I haven't seen many people talking about the ways that AI could be used, or the possibilities that AI could create for malicious governments, for malicious entities, for people to just profit off of and, fucking not care about. Because there are people like that. There have always been people like that. There have always been people that would take profit over people's safety. And we know that. We know this. This is a very common recurring pattern, right? I mean, if you ask me, I think most wars are just profit driven, and none of them actually mean anything. None of them are really about land. I think people are just making money off of it. That's why innocent young men are being fucking sent out to, Ukraine or Israel or whatever, and just dying for fucking fat, greasy politicians so they can just line their pockets. But that's a topic for another video. AI could really be a tool that could fuck us up, and I don't think we know fully what's coming.